Hello, Seekers. Thanks for listening. I have a really special episode for you guys. Today's guest, Wes Shipp, has a very inspiring and beautiful story of strength, resilience, and growth that I think you'll find very compelling. He went from being homeless and addicted to hard drugs to becoming a rising country music artist. Keep listening to find out how the kindness of a couple of guardian angels and turning to a more natural remedy got him out of the streets, clean, and on the way to becoming a country music star. I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to share it with your friends.
This front row seat.
I'm here with Wes Shipp. How's it going, Wes?
Going good. Going good. Out all night pulling traps in for $1. You bring it home to put it in a pipe. 6 p.m. do it all again. That's the way it goes. And if you ask me, there ain't no kind of life.
He just traveled from Guntersville, Alabama. That was his little pit stop from... You guys live in Ohio, right?
Yeah, up towards Cincinnati.
Okay, cool. So he's come down here to Mobile to play at the People's Room tonight, and we're excited to have him. I'm excited to have you here on the podcast, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't do a whole lot of these. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know we've planned this way earlier this year, and I've been following you on social media and listening to your music and everything. Like many people, I find your story very inspiring. Do you feel like talking a little bit about kind of your backstory? Yeah.
So I spent about 15 out of 32 years screwing up and finding really good ways to screw up, and got into the alcohol really early when I was a teenager and started it turned to drugs pretty quick. And I ended up getting locked up a bunch when I was 18. I turned 20 and I started hitchhiking and hopping freight trains and going all over the country and a few others. And I didn't really have a direction or clue what I was doing. I would street perform everywhere I went. I had a guitar everywhere I went. That went on and off for a while because I would like get off the road for a little bit and try to figure my shit out. And
how was that though? Like, was there an element of fun and excitement about it?
Yeah, and fear, and some of the best times in my life and worst times in my life, and having to figure out how to pull stakes and leave when I needed to. And it was a wild experience. I don't think I'd trade it for anything. I say I was homeless, but for the most part, it was by choice. I just wanted to travel around and see the world and, I don't know, see if I could do it on my own. A few years ago, COVID hit. I was in New Orleans for about 3 or 4 months. I was living in an old abandoned house right off the French Quarter. COVID hit, and it was like crowd panic over there. My thought was either go back to Florida or go to Texas, because those are going to be the last states that close down anything. Mm-hmm. It's going to be easier to travel through. I got to Texas, and about a week after I got there, they'd shut everything down. We were just getting ready to go to this festival, and they shut down 2 days before it started in Austin. I was like, well, it's time to go home then and see what I can figure out over there, because nobody was picking anybody up, and transportation was just weird at that point. I hopped a train out of Texas and met up with some friends in Louisiana. They drove me to Arkansas. I wound up in North Little Rock. And around that time, I had a really bad cocaine problem. And anything else I could pretty much get my hands on. I got to North Little Rock. And you know these sheds they have out in front of like Lowe's and Home Depot? Mm-hmm. I had a deal with the guy there in North Little Rock that ran the Lowe's. And he'd let me sleep in one of them. Wow. From nighttime to early in the morning.
I feel like that's unheard of. Like,
yeah, he said,
most people would not do that.
Yeah, no, he told me as long as I kept my mess, because he knew like COVID was going on and businesses were shutting down, and he didn't really have customers coming to look at none of that stuff at that point. You know what I mean?
What an angel. Yeah.
I had this guy that one day I was sitting outside the Walmart and I was playing guitar with my ex-girlfriend. I had this guy come up named Jesse Beard. Jesse offered me a meal in exchange for my favorite song at the time. He asked me what my favorite thing to play was. And at the time I was practicing Riley Green's song called I Wish Grandpa's Never Died. And I was fixated on it, learning it and whatnot. Everybody knew all the words to Mama tried. I played it for him and he recorded it and bought me a meal. And 2 days later, I run into him outside that Lowe's. and he comes like screeching tires in the parking lot. I thought I'd piss somebody off. But he got out and he's like, man, have you been paying attention to the internet lately? I was like, I don't even have a phone. Like, I have no use for one right now. He's like, man, that video is sitting at like 400,000 views. There's a bunch of people trying to help you right now. Kids never got caught. Price of gas was low. Cotton was high. This Arkansas didn't have no closing time. I wish grandpas never died. And I took it for granted for about 5 or 6 months. I made it back home. I got back on the other hard stuff pretty quickly. And I had a come to Jesus moment 3 days before I quit everything. I just started watching people die around me. It was like Final Destination. It was like every time someone fell off, it was somebody closer. I honestly just felt like it was getting to be my time. And I wanted to beat that. I moved up to Kentucky with a guy that was supposed to be managing me. He wound up being a shitbag. 8 months later, I met Bree. She went from working healthcare full-time to losing her job because she wouldn't get the vaccine because some health issues of hers. But she started managing me pretty much directly after that. We've just been hitting the road really, really hard ever since.
That's awesome.
Getting to play with really cool people and just been really blessed.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Things turned around when I turned it around.
Yeah. How did you end up getting clean? Did you go to rehab or anything? Or was it enough with your friends passing away to kind of scare you into...
So before I found my last friend dead, for the first month, I tried to get on Suboxone and get off everything. And I wound up in the hospital from the Suboxone. It was worse than the heroin that I was on. So I wound up getting off the heroin, and I quit smoking weed for about 3.5 years while I was doing everything else. And the day I quit everything, I decided, maybe it might help me eat something while I'm dealing with all this. Had it not been for marijuana, I don't think I'd be here today.
Yeah.
I feel like it saved my life.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a miracle plant.
Definitely.
I can't do it anymore because it makes my anxiety go through the roof. It just makes me really paranoid. I mean, I used to smoke a lot, but then it got to where I could only smoke if I was drinking, and I quit drinking. So I've been stone cold sober for almost a year now as of October 8th. So thank you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. I'm a huge believer in it. It has many, many medicinal purposes, and it has a lot of value in medicinal ways, and also for people's mental health. And
absolutely.
I mean, it destroys cancer cells like THC oil.
I didn't have a withdrawal one because of it. That was the decision. I breezed through it in 3 days and came out all right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I didn't go through any program. So my program was the guy that was supposed to be managing me was offering it to me the whole time I was living with him. And I got sick of being around it. It was a really shitty situation. Like, I don't know. He was supposed to be helping me get into outpatient rehab and pushing that. And he was like telling my parents that. As soon as I got there, he had meth on a 4.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's not the best environment to be in when you're trying to get clean.
No, but I think in the same sense, I was blessed for it to happen because I got real good at telling people no.
Yeah, that's a superpower.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do, but once you master it,
I started watching the negatives of it because the people that were supposed to be helping me were like fucked up on it, and I wasn't. It's like I had that outsider's perspective for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of a reality check when you become an outsider looking in. And it's kind of been like that with me with drinking. Like, I still go to bars and stuff. I can be around alcohol and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't tempt me. But I have a very short amount of patience for being around drunk people now.
Oh, yeah. I quit for a whole year and then slowed down after that a lot. I don't do it at shows anymore because, like you said, the outsider's perspective, like when I'm on stage, I'm watching everything that's going on. You can see where the ruckus is at. You know what I mean? You don't want to be part of it when you're working. I had a few bad shows a few years back. I got to see some video of it and hear people's opinions, and it kind of crushed me at the moment. I was like, man, I thought I was doing good.
It makes you cringe so hard seeing evidence of it. You're like, oh, God.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, it was bad. I was like, man, I could have done that a lot better.
Third time I broke parole, showed my ass some bucket. and they threw me in the hole. 2 months until my court date. And all that I can tell, that's just another day here in the Citrus County Jail.
I realized, I was an alcoholic for nearly 20 years, really, because I started drinking when I was a teenager as well. And I also did a bunch of different drugs. I was addicted to cocaine, pills of different kinds. But most recently, it was just alcohol was all I was doing. I have a 9-year-old son, and I had kind of turned my life around before I even got pregnant with him, thankfully. But kids definitely change a lot of things in your life. After my dad died, I was pretty heavy into alcohol and everything. I just realized how annoying I was when I was drunk was one of the things I was like, oh my God, I would cringe so hard. I never got angry. Like, I wasn't an angry drunk or anything like that, but just, ugh.
Gary and Bree kind of keep me in check because that last bad show, I tried to play the same Alabama song 3 times in a row. And whenever I'm talking about wanting to drink, they're like, y'all want to hear some
Remember
Alabama?
that time?
I'm like, no, never mind. We're good. We're going to skip that.
Yeah, I mean, I know we just met each other, but I'm proud of you and happy for you
Same.
that you were able to get out of that lifestyle and survive that, because I had several friends that died from drugs and even alcohol. I had a friend that died of 27 of cirrhosis.
One of my best friends passed away about 2 years ago from it, and it was the eye-opener that I thought it was going to be. I was his drinking buddy and didn't know he was sick up until like 3 weeks before he passed. I think I beat myself up more for being the guy that was there doing it with him than anything. Just kind of spiraled from there for a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard not to whenever somebody you're close to passes away. Most people are going to have all those different thoughts of guilt, regret, find some reason to blame yourself.
And that was honestly the first time I had felt something when it came to like death in a while. When I was in active addiction and it was happening, like I said, right before I quit, I felt like I just become so desensitized to it all. It wasn't bothering me like it should have been.
Well, that's one of the things as addicts, you're basically trying to self-medicate and to not feel anything. Like, that's part of it. So then you just become numb to so many things that you shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem's not the drugs.
Yeah.
The drugs are the ailment you're trying to find. I realized that about a year after I quit, I still had some issues that were needing to be dealt with, and that's how I was trying to deal with them.
Yeah, because then you just start feeling everything 100% or 1,000%, and you're like, whoa,
yeah,
this is overwhelming.
I'm crying, listening to songs again and shit. Yeah, no, I feel that.
It's amazing that the whole point of this podcast that I started is because of my love of music and its healing power and all that. That's one of the reasons I was so drawn to your story, because music is kind of what lifted you out of that life. And
yeah,
I mean, having Jesse, he was just a bystander that came by and just wanted to help you, got you a meal, all that. And just because he decided to,
he wanted to buy me a phone so I could keep up with everything.
Wow,
too, at the time.
That is amazing.
I paid for the bill for about a year, and finally one day I was like, man, I'm able to pay for it myself.
That is awesome.
I was like, I'll take it over from here. He's like, cool, man. He's like, whatever you need. And I still go see him. Whenever we stop through Little Rock, I'm like, we're going to see Jesse for a second.
On the day he was born, proud dad took him home, wrapped in dreams that reached out towards the sky.
Yeah, I mean, that's so incredible, just the way that God works things out like that.
Yeah.
That's so cool that that one little video that a passing stranger decided to take just kind of launched you into a new life.
By the time he turned 16, he'd been everything. A leader in church and in school. Yeah, the old man had been blessed, 'cause on every list the boy was voted the most likely to.
I remember when I started street performing, I hitchhiked out of Florida and went up to Illinois to this rainbow gathering. I left there with a buddy and went to Nashville. I hit the streets one morning thinking I was going to be discovered or something. Like, it was the first time in town, so like I didn't really know how shit worked. And like I realized how ugly it can get for somebody that was like a transient trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because around that time, there was a lot of protests going on in the big cities, and they had the Occupy Wall Street thing going on. So like I was looked at as a target.
Yeah.
The whole first year I was on the road. So the first year was kind of rough. I was bouncing protest to protest.
Shooting basketball goals, but now his goals just ain't the same. 'Cause when you got to get high just to survive.
I was a part of Occupy Mobile, actually. We had an Occupy movement down here.
I was in Occupy Nashville, Taos, New Mexico, Oakland, California, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. There was a few of them.
Wow.
I went to a bunch of them that year. Yeah, no, they've seen people like us. Back then I had dreads down to here. Like,
Yeah.
we were getting chased out of town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy time. Nothing like that hardly ever happened down here in Mobile. So we were immediate targets. The cops were just swarming. Anytime we would go anywhere to do anything, it was just immediate
Oh, yeah.
cops everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I had to leave Occupy Oakland because my arm broke by a cop out there.
Oh my gosh.
And they didn't arrest me. They just kind of left me there.
Wow.
It was wild. It's crazy times, man. That one in Los Angeles was nuts.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
It was like a Grateful Dead lot through City Hall. And they had like cops up on the top of the buildings with like beanbag shotguns and shit.
God.
It was crazy.
I heard you in one interview say that you lived in a hippie commune in Tennessee. Did you live at the farm? I know it's technically not a hippie
So
commune
that's right down the
anymore,
road from
but...
her grandparents' house.
Oh, wow. I've been to the farm.
So that's in Summertown. So that's where
Yeah.
she's from. My son was born over there
Wow.
in Lawrenceburg. But no, actually, I lived on Hippie Hill for a little bit over in Christiana towards like Manchester where they hold like Bonnaroo.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been to the farm plenty, and the owners of both are friends with each other.
Nice. I love the farm.
Yeah.
I got to meet Stephen and Ina Mae Gaskin, and that was
I actually
incredible.
worked on their hog farm once.
Really?
I used to work for a construction company out there in a Summertown, putting up like pole barns and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, the farm is incredible. It blows my mind.
Actually, the last job I did there was I put up a basketball hoop for them.
Nice.
Yeah, that was years back.
I want to go back there and visit sometime.
Yeah. So her grandparents live like 2 houses down from them.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah. But Hippie Hill, man, shout out to Hippie and Jeannie, man. I showed up there when I was like 21, 22. I wound up in Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, which is close to like Knoxville, Sevierville. I'd met Hippie a few times at the Rainbow Gatherings down in Ocala. And he'd be like, man, you got to come up and check out my place. And one night I called him in a hotel room and I was like, I'm going to show up tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but we're going to try to hitchhike there. We showed up, and back then he had like teepees on the property. He had like this like metal teepee that had like bar and like pool table, and he had like a print shop for like t-shirts, an office, and like a kitchen. And they basically just took in street kids and helped them get on their feet if they wanted to get jobs and figure out their stuff. They were kind of the first people to bring me around bars to play in bars
Wow.
for any kind of money anyways. We were making tips most places, but on and off, I lived there for a while. Like I met my son's mom up there.
How old's your son?
So he just turned 8,
Okay.
September 6th.
Oh, my son's 9, about to be 10.
Heck yeah.
They're fun. I love little boys.
Oh yeah. Mine's a little video game nerd like I was.
Same.
I love it.
Yeah, my son is definitely a big gamer.
Oh yeah.
You played in some thrash metal bands when you were a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Do you listen to metal and stuff still?
Nothing new. I listen to a lot of the older stuff. I was really into like Lamb of God and Job for a Cowboy and shit like that growing up. So A Day to Remember was a really big band in my hometown.
Mhm.
And they went to the like rival high school when I was going to high school.
Oh, wow.
So like everybody was a big fan of them because they were like
Yeah,
the band that was going to make it big out of there.
that's so cool.
I was really into any kind of rock music before I got into country. I mean, I grew up listening to country music and knew all the words to all the songs and whatnot growing up. But I grew up in a part of Florida where I was really the minority, and I got made fun of a lot for listening to country music.
Really?
Because like my friends were all like Haitian or Cuban, and they listened
okay.
to completely different stuff than I did. I was the oddball listening to country music. So I did it in like secrecy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did it when I was like at home. Started a band when I was in this Christian school in 8th grade. And we had a band called Organ Grinder.
Nice.
And my buddy Rob played guitar and I played bass. We had this kid that had cerebral palsy that was our lead singer, and he was so badass. He was so good at all the like pig growls and
that's awesome.
all that stuff. Yeah, he was awesome. My parents moved me up to Wisconsin when I was a teenager, and I started playing bars here and there just while they were there drinking and watching the football games and whatnot. I ended up on that hippie commune around like 21 and was there for, I still go back a lot. We got a venue we play over there, and so friends with the people that used to own it. It's not up anymore, and I think they're selling the property because it was like they had some kind of zoning feud going on with their neighbor. The neighbor wanted them out of there. We had like a festival every month and a stage that faced his property down the hill. It was a cool place, and usually there was like 30 to 60 people there at once, and we had like campers and buses and all kinds of shit to stay on, and it was cool.
Yeah, I bet that was a good time.
Yeah. I've run into a lot of places like that, but that was the one that I wound up at more than anywhere. It was like my second home.
That's really cool. And you played cello too, right?
I did.
How did you get into playing cello?
So my sister had started playing in orchestra when she was in 6th grade. She played violin, and I always tried picking her violin up, messing with it, and my fingers are too big for the violin. When I got into 6th grade, they gave me the option to get into orchestra, and I did it and started passing around the instruments, and cello just kind of felt right with my long fingers.
I love the cello.
Yeah, me too. It's been years since I picked one up, but
I was about to ask if you ever play anymore.
No, I played for about 5 or 6 years, and I carried a C all the way through that class because I didn't know how to read the sheet music.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't take the time to learn it, but they still had me at first seat cello because I knew the music.
Yeah.
And my music teacher used to tell me all the time, she's like, you're never going to get anywhere in the business if you don't learn how to read sheet music. If you don't learn this, if you don't learn that. I'm the dumbest person in my band. They all know way more than me.
I see where she's coming from because I really do get the need for music theory and everything, but it's not a necessity for everyone. Like, if you are able to play by ear and do what you need to do, and there are people out there that can still, you have a band that I'm guessing they all are well versed in theory and everything.
They all know the national number system.
Yeah, but you guys seem to make it work. So
yeah, all I got to do is show them where I'm at, and they're like, okay, there we go.
Yeah, I just started school again. I'm 34 years old and just started college again. I'm going to be getting a music degree, so I'm learning. I took piano and voice pretty much all of my childhood and stuff, and I kind of knew theory back then. But when I got back into school, I was like, I don't know any of this shit anymore. It has been a challenge with theory.
I didn't realize how much the theory was kind of a necessity. I had this guy that used to come see me play back before I started doing it. I guess you could call it professionally. He used to come to my shows out in Etheridge, Tennessee, and he took music theory, but he couldn't play or sing or nothing like that. He just could tell you how to do it. That's the guy that taught me how to harmonize.
Oh, wow.
He broke it down basically to where I could understand it. He's like, yeah, take your chords and the notes that match the chords, and one person sings over one and one on the other. And I was like, dude,
that's so cool.
Like, I never would have figured that out. You know what I mean?
I mean, there are so many benefits and beautiful things about music theory, and I'm starting to learn and embrace that because before, and I feel like it's going to take my songwriting to the next level. I'm getting my degree. I'm focusing on composition because I really want to do film scores one day, and I write music I've written one song for my church, but I'm trying to kind of branch out in that. I wanted to finish school and get a degree in something, and music seemed like the most logical thing because that's my passion and it's going to help me so much. Yeah, I've just been really learning to embrace the theory because it's kind of like math. It pretty much is math, and I'm not a math person, but I'm starting to find ways for it to click in my mind. But just like your example with that guy teaching you how to harmonize with theory, like there are little things like that I'm like, I see why we need theory now.
No, I had no clue about it until he broke it down. I was like, and then he did, and I was like, man,
it's mind blowing.
I just had somebody around that could just like throw me these little hints every now and then. I grew up with some learning disabilities. I never graduated, and I had a really hard time focusing in school, and They had me so doped up on Adderall for the time I was 6 years old till I was 15. They had me on like 150 milligrams a day.
Oh my God.
I was growing in height and losing weight as the years went by. When I was 15, I decided I wanted to get off the Adderall and I wanted to be normal like the other kids, not feel like a zombie and have my stomach hurt in the morning. And 2 weeks later, I found out what meth was.
Yeah.
And school just didn't matter at that point. Yeah, so I've always had a hard time with like the reading and anything like that. On top of that, I'm dyslexic. That makes it that much better.
So behind me, over at this table back here, I brought my son with me. And quick backstory, I didn't get to see my son for like 2 years because of the decisions I was making.
I have ADHD and didn't get diagnosed until I was, I guess, 14 or 15. And I got prescribed Adderall, but I didn't like the way it made me feel, so I sold it at school every day.
Yeah, my friends wanted it instead. I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, you're like, why would you want this?
Take them all.
By the grace of God, I have been clean off of the hard drugs for 2 years and 12 days. And appreciate y'all.
Just take it. I guess I was a young entrepreneur.
So you're around the same age as me. Back then, parents really didn't know any better.
No.
Doctors were pushing things that they weren't supposed to be, man. My mom I had like outbursts from being like, I would get on the pills and then I wouldn't have them for a week and I'd lose my shit. And they court ordered her to make sure I took my medication. Otherwise, she'd end up going to jail.
The hardest part about getting clean was for 8 months, I didn't get to see him. And I thought I was doing so good. You know what I mean? And then when I got to see him, I had to be reintroduced as his dad.
The 90s parents had it weird. Like, the doctors shouldn't have been doing that, but the doctors really shouldn't have been doing a lot of things they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, our parents did the best they could, but...
You learn that as you get older.
Yeah, you learn it majorly.
The song's called Better Man.
I'm constantly apologizing to my mom and being like, you are an angel, you're a saint.
Yeah,
how did you deal with me? My poor mother.
And sometimes I fall short of the man I want to be, and hoping every day I'm able to put food there on the table, be the best I can for my family.
But yeah, they definitely had it hard because of how absolutely insane the medical world was. Like,
yeah. And then when I got on the drugs, I feel like there was some kind of guilt there with my mom. They let me kind of use there at the house as long as I was in my room. I kept my stuff
they wanted
up.
You to be safe at home.
Yeah. That got to the point where I took advantage of it and I started shooting up a lot. It was like anything I could put in a needle, and I started getting careless and leaving shit out. So my mom got clean about a year before I did. Me and her used to use together. Before that, growing up, me and her didn't get along.
Yeah.
We weren't friends, and then we became friends, and I think that was a big issue, especially with us both having our problems. Yeah, she got clean a year before I did and gave me the tough love and kind of, she told me, come back when you're figure this shit out.
Yeah.
She made sure I didn't get arrested the last time she seen me before I got clean. I freaked out in the back of her car. I was trying to hide myself using with a book bag like in front of me in the back seat. And when I got done, I came to and didn't realize where I was and started freaking out. And I got out of the car in the middle of this intersection and cops got called. And for years, I thought my mom called them. And we find out it was somebody that was across the street. And she begged the cop not to search my bag. And had he searched my bag that day, I'd still be in prison right now.
Wow.
But I'm just trying to be a better man. I know nobody's perfect, and I ain't trying to be. But the good Lord knows I'm better than the old me.
I hated her for a long time until I realized that. I mean, I was like, damn, like she really saved my life. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. What about your dad? Is he still around?
Yeah. Dad's a little bit older than mom. And he used for a long time, but he quit when I was a kid. He had a bunch of heart issues, and it was either He was either quit what you're doing or die.
Yeah.
So he's been clean 24 years.
Wow.
But
you guys are all clean now.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Figuring it out.
And your sister, she plays music and everything too. And she was kind of your reason that you started playing guitar, right?
Yeah. So I play a bunch of female country, and it's because I used to play for her before I started singing. She's kind of doing the mom thing right now and figuring out what she needs to do and kind of put music on the back burner for now.
Yeah. She has a beautiful voice. I heard her sing. It was a Facebook podcast. I can't remember which one, but I heard you guys sing together, and she's got a beautiful voice.
She's a hell of a talent. One day she's going to put her nose to the grindstone with it and figure it out.
Yeah, it's hard when you're a mom or a parent in general. Like, I know how much work it takes. Like, for me, I write music and play music, but it's just kind of a side passion thing. I usually just play at the people's room, and I don't like make a lot of money or anything. And I have a TikTok. I resisted for years getting TikTok, but
me too.
When I started playing music again, I made one just for my music stuff, so I can have that as an outlet to like post my music.
It's essential too. Like, that's one that everybody uses.
Yeah. I mean, I get more engagement on TikTok than any other social media, and I hardly ever even get on there. Like, I go on there and post a video and then don't check it for a few days, and I get on there and it's like 1,000 something views and however many likes. I'm like, why can't I get this kind of engagement on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, no, the algorithms are weird, man. That's actually how I met Brianna. Was her mom was doing some online stuff for me and helped me figure out making a website. Her mom, Misty, introduced us to each other, and she had taken a bunch of online classes to figure out how the Facebook algorithm works and whatnot. So we were able to figure that out pretty quick.
I need to take some of those classes.
So I started my page out as a shit posting page.
Yeah.
And I just posted really controversial, funny memes. And it wasn't like nothing political or nothing like that, but it was like things you don't want your grandma to see.
Yeah.
Somehow that built my page up to like 12, 13, 14,000 followers really quick. I had to figure out how to switch that to music.
Yeah.
And it was weird because the people that were commenting on stuff, like some people like the music, and then they'd get some of the shit posters that get on there and start talking shit.
Yeah.
It would just like be a dumpster fire in the comment section. I'm like, oh God. I have to explain like everybody's standpoint and whatnot.
That is hilarious.
I haven't figured out Instagram yet. That's a weird one.
I'm such a boomer when it comes to technology. I understand the need for it, and I do appreciate it in some ways, but in more ways, I cannot stand it. But I know how necessary it is.
Like, there's certain things I'm not going to do. Like, I'm not going to do how some of these people promote their music on TikTok. It just bugs the hell out of me. And it seems like it's just the generation under us.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? There's certain things I'm just not going to, my dignity's not going to allow me to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird platform sometimes, especially at night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever go scroll on the lives, but man.
I haven't been down that rabbit hole yet.
Oh, it's weird. After midnight, me and Brie have been caught up for hours before just.
I'll have to do that one night when I can't sleep or something.
Oh man, I've seen some weird stuff on there. People dressed like dragons and all kinds of weird shit.
Wow. So as far as your music, so I listened to the Live from Steelhouse album. I really, really loved it. I loved you and Jason's banter, like the little intro tracks before each song.
That was fire, bro.
Thank you, buddy.
Listen, I was just sitting there for the folks that can't see what's going on here. You got this boy from Florida up here, and he's got this mullet rocking with his big beard. And he's sitting over there, and he's got his damn gator skin cowboy boots with his jeans in them. Hitting that vape pen. He's got an Alabama trucker on and a Atomic Elvane shirt. And while you was playing that song, I was thinking about when we was down at the Sundowner and he come walking up and he had those glasses on. He looked like the dude off of Oh Brother, We're Out There.
The one that's killing everybody?
The prison warden. You know, when the devil comes. So when you sit there playing that song, I said, damn, if you ever shoot a video for that, that would be the guy to have in it.
Oh, yeah.
Jason's one of my closest friends. Me and him were both warned about each other before we met each other. They're like, man, they're kind of... You know what I mean? They might rub you the wrong way. And I was like, well, I want to meet this guy now.
Yeah.
Y'all just push that. Jason's taking some time off or not doing music. I don't know exactly what he's doing. Andy Smith runs that studio that we recorded that in over in Salina, Tennessee. Jason asked me one day if we wanted to record the record, and we didn't put it on streaming services for a while. We just sold physical copies. And we sold about 1,500 physical copies before we decided might as
That
well
is
put it out.
awesome.
And we're possibly pulling some vinyl records to sell on that one soon. So that's going to be fun.
I need to let me know when you
Yeah,
drop those because I need one.
Yeah.
He was raised in an old wood shack, no windows and no doors. No neighbors round for 15 miles, so he never knew he was poor. Sugar cane and cornfields, that made his family name. And a planned device cause the county's dry and the law knows where to blame.
We added a ghost song to the end of the record, kind of like they did in the 90s
Yeah.
and whatnot.
That's so awesome. Jason reminds me so much of my dad. The way that he talks, his sense of humor, the songs that he writes. He reminds me, when just listening to him talk, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like him and my dad would have been best friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. It gave me warm fuzzies because he reminded me so much of my dad.
He's such good people, and his music's so relatable to like the common man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I liked about it. That and me and him just got to travel so much together. I don't know. Jason's just awesome. Jason kind of reminds me of, it's like if Chris Knight and Ian No had a love child. That would be Jason.
Yeah.
That was a really fun record to record. It was just us, and we had a 12-pack of Miller Lights between us and just told stories. Andy hit play, and that's what we got.
Yeah. I really, really enjoyed that album. And storytelling has been a huge part of country music always. And I really, really enjoy your storytelling through your music. And I think Jason mentioned it, how you can really tell that these are your stories for the most part. Like they're stories that you've lived, and you have such a unique perspective in that you have struggled with addiction and homelessness and all this other stuff that makes it a lot more relatable to the common person. I think in one interview you were talking about, not everybody has the big jacked up truck that their daddies gave them and all.
No, not at all. Not everybody lived a privileged lifestyle.
Yeah.
I feel like country radio's pushed that envelope for too long. There's not enough people that relate to that kind of stuff. I don't know. Or the girl in the bar thing that's dragged out so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't listen to country radio at all.
Yeah. So I listen to a bunch of stuff, but when it comes to like what I consider country, there's a few people that I listen to a lot. Shout out to JD Graham. He's definitely one of them. I would call them guys like me, the storytellers.
Yeah. Do you like Coulter Wall?
I do.
He's coming to Mobile in December. I'm going to see him.
Nice.
The singer. I'm really excited.
His old fiddle player, Anna Blanton, played a show with us last year. Opening up the ward. She's killer. I haven't got to see Coulter, though.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I didn't listen to country at all for a very long time until the Tyler Childers and Coulter Walls and more of the Outlaws and Sturgill Simpson.
Sturgill was the start of it for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's when I started listening. I still don't listen to country a lot, but when I do, it's going to be people like you and people like them that have that more outlaw sound, that are telling stories that aren't just prepackaged, put in a box.
Absolutely. So Eric Church was the one that really turned me on to looking outside the box for different music. I started listening to Ray Wiley Hubbard. Then Sturgill, when he dropped the Meta Modern album, I was hooked. I was like, man, there's another side to this that's getting like, it wasn't popular like it is now. You could tell there was a place for it. And there was about to be a lot of room for a lot of really big talents. I don't know. Country's cool for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. I like the country from the 90s and back.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the old stuff like Johnny Cash and Hank Williams and Lefty Frizzell, like all those.
Lefty's one of my favorites.
I've got a few of his records on vinyl.
Yeah, Lefty's one of my favorites.
My grandpa got me into all the old country. He always used to show me stuff, and even like Slim Whitman, and I guess
so we still do a lot of that kind of stuff in our sets. We'll do like Dave Dudley and George Jones. And,
nice.
I used to get a bad rap because when I first started playing music, I didn't really have original music. Like I started writing 3 years ago. So I used to get a bad rap for throwing a lot of covers in my stuff, and I still do. And I think for country music, it's really essential to remember what it sounded like back then.
Yeah.
Because you get lost in what the hell's going on in the radio and what's cool now.
Yeah, it's a nice little
It
way
gets lost out there in the cosmos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a nice way to pay homage to the old greats. Speaking of which, I've been down the single you released of Hank Jr. cover.
Blew my last $20 on an Oilers football game. I only lost by half a point, and nothing ever goes my way. Economics and plastic people making good luck hard to find. And all this stuff that's going down has really gotten me down this time. I've been down, not this far before.
So there's a guy from Mobile, Ricky Chancey. He is a legendary guitarist and harmonica player from Mobile, and he's been touring with Hank Williams Jr. since 2008, which I would love to have Ricky Chancey on the podcast sometime. He was a good friend of my dad's.
I've never seen Junior. I heard him outside of an outdoor amphitheater. I was just kind of listening.
Yeah.
I've seen Hank 3 a bunch right before he decided to stop playing music when he did.
He came to Mobile several years ago, and I wish I would have gone. I think I had to work or something, but I didn't get to see him. But
no, man, he's one of my favorites. He's in my top 5, especially live shows. Because
I'm sure he puts on a rowdy show.
They did the Ass Jack stuff, and it was like all the metal stuff too, and it was so cool. And the bands they had opening up for him. The last 2 times I've seen him, Unknown Hinson was the opener.
Nice.
And then before then, it was a band called the Goddamn Gallows. They're so cool, man. They got like a.
I'm gonna make a note because just based on the name, I want to look that up.
Oh, dude,
I've never heard of them.
It's like the perfect mix of like folk punk and metal accordion music.
I'm going down that rabbit hole later.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you started recording your next album?
So the guy I do most of my recording with is a dude named Zach McCord out of Bridgeport, West Virginia.
Okay.
He's been, a bunch of my musician buddies have been getting their stuff done through him. He's written songs with, are you familiar with Charles Wesley Godwin?
Mm-mm.
So look him up when you get a chance.
I'll add him to the list.
He's killer. He's biggest thing out of West Virginia right now.
So do you have another record coming in the works, or are you still kind of focused on getting Live at Steelhouse out on vinyl and all that?
So we're going to do that. Sometime at the start of the year, I'm going to meet up with some buddies over in South Carolina, actually putting together a bluegrass record.
Oh my gosh.
Of like a lot of the songs I've put out. We got a few covers I'm throwing in there, like a Miranda Lambert cover and Keith Whitley song and
that is
a few
awesome.
things, but I'm really excited about that one.
I love bluegrass.
Same. That's going to be a fun record. It's like after I recorded and released that I've Been Down cover, it was like, I don't know, I want to record a lot more covers if I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was fun.
I've enjoyed listening to and watching the videos of your collabs with Wade Jennings too. Yeah, those videos are really good.
Wade's such a good person, man. I met him years ago and we didn't really remember each other. He came to that hippie commune and played a show as him and Billy Don Burns and Johnny Cash's grandson, Thomas Gabriel. And,
oh my gosh.
And we were all kind of on a hellacious path for ourselves at that time. I met Way years later at the Everglades Seafood Festival, and him and his manager, Tammy, were down there. And we just kind of hung out and talked and whatnot. And Tammy reached out a few times after that, got us some shows on her campground up in Pennsylvania. And we got to play with Way a few times. And we started writing together like 2.5 years ago. I was blessed enough to get to write half the songs on that EP.
He's pulling down his sleeves in mid-July. He either looks half crazy or full high. He's sweating off that fever with a heart as cold as ice. He's pulling down his sleeves in mid-July.
We got together the next year and got a hotel suite. So like his wife and Bree were on one side, me and him were on the other side, figuring out our songs. And we wrote like 7 or 8 songs that night.
Wow.
And it's never been that easy before to write music. with somebody because I just gotten into the co-writing thing. But
Yeah.
we're getting together to write another record here in the next couple weeks.
It seems like you guys have really good musical chemistry together.
It feels kind of like the Waylon and Billy Joe Shaver thing.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of in my head.
The next generation.
I ain't no Billy Joe Shaver, but it's kind of cool to watch. Way's turned it around just like I did. He got clean a little bit before I did. And Way doesn't smoke or drink. And I get there's a lot of people that have to do it that way.
Yeah, that's me.
Luckily,
I have to.
Yeah. Luckily, the weed hasn't been a gateway or nothing for me. The alcohol was kind of turned into that. So that's why I don't really drink anymore. I'm proud of it, man. I'm proud of how well the record's done. I go into this kind of stuff with no expectations.
Yeah. That's the best way to be, because then you can't get let down.
I've seen rock bottom a lot. So I went in there I was blown away by the people that were picking up on that record, from People Magazine to Rodeo Life and Tractor Supply. And
well, I saw the video. I can't remember which one it was, but the one that was posted like a month ago that has like over 600,000 views or something.
So the Radio West Virginia video that I took.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was one of the first songs I ever wrote. That My Old Man.
I love that song.
Appreciate it. Like I said, I go into these things with no expectations. And at that time, I didn't know anything about songwriting. I knew that songs had touched me before that I had heard. I didn't know the power of when you got a good one on the line and people were really receptive to it. That one's really blown me away because, like, I've had people hit me up and tell me they've used it for funeral songs and father-daughter dances.
Yeah, honestly, I wish I would have known about it when my dad passed away, because it's very touching to me. Like, it brings me joy about my dad when I hear it. Me and my dad were very close, and I would have totally used that at my dad's funeral had I known about it at that time.
I'm the same way with my dad. He'll be 70 in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
He had a Florida Gators hat. Stands about 5'8". And he loves Merle Willie and old George Strait. And he drinks his coffee black. Smokes Marlboro cigarettes. And if there's a better man, I ain't found one yet.
Well, happy early birthday to Wes's dad.
He's a cool dude, man.
Yeah, that song is very special. I also loved If You'd Have Told Me Years Ago.
Yeah.
I heard you telling the story on the album about how it was an accidental love song. I thought that was really sweet. I understand why Bree makes you play it everywhere.
Oh, man. So when I hit the road with Ward Davis last year, which shout out to Ward for that. That was the coolest run I've ever been on.
Nice.
That started becoming like the fan favorite with, other than My Old Man. I was really proud of that one. The concept came out perfect. I don't know. There's been a lot of situations in my life where if you'd have told me a while back, I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have guessed this.
Yeah.
That's been from good to bad to crazy to happy, anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's like a good reminder to kind of reflect on things that you're like. Sometimes I have a hard time looking at the big picture, and I'll get caught up in a little failure or something and just be like, oh, woe is me. And when
the fact that change scares a lot of people.
Yeah. And then when I remind myself, look at how far you've come, like I have to sit down and be like, okay, even in just the past year, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Even if I've messed up along the way, like I've still come such a long way. You have to kind of remind yourself of that sometimes instead of getting caught up in some little nonsense that doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. One I get caught up with a lot is things not happening quick enough.
Yeah.
Rushing time, like something that's impossible. You know what I mean?
I struggle with that too.
Things not happening as quick as you thought they would. I don't know. I've gotten pretty patient lately. This year, we just kind of been doing our thing. I haven't really focused on putting out my own music because I've been writing with a bunch of other people.
I feel like it's really good to do that, though, creatively, so you don't become an echo chamber with yourself.
Yeah.
I would like to start trying to co-write a little bit, because most of my songs have been just me, like, dumping my emotions out, and a lot of times they're really depressing. Most of my songs are really depressing. So
yeah,
I would love to kind of branch out and start co-writing with people. I've never really done that before. Me and my boyfriend started writing a song together, which we have to finish, but I think it's really good creatively to kind of work with other people and
See how
get
their
new
brains work.
perspective. Yeah.
At the start, I would get offended. Like the first time I tried to co-write with a few buddies, I was like, man, they're shitting on my ideas. Like I didn't know how to feel about it. Like I was too married to the words I'd put down. And I was going to change them anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You do have to be flexible.
Yeah. That was the first lesson and all that I had to learn because like all my songs were so personal up until that point. And now like there's a few of the co-writes. Me and Billy Don Burns just wrote one a few days ago, and it's more so his story than it's my story. And we have a lot of similarities with like the partying and the lifestyle. And
I love y'all's collab, the Lonesome 77203 song. I love that song.
Oh man.
I'm the train about to know, not on time, not on bleed. Ain't nobody waiting on me. Call me the Lonesome 77203. Little child, yeah.
Billy's got a really extensive history as a songwriter. He wrote short songs for Willie and Johnny Cash and Tanya Tucker and Cody Jenks, and he's wrote for Culture Wall. And
Wow.
yeah, he's been touring for over 50 years.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he was one of the people, as I was doing my research and everything for this episode, I wanted to do a deep dive with him because I can tell he's legendary. So
He'd be perfect for y'all's place. Him and JD Graham. Like those two, I think y'all's people would love those two.
Oh, yeah.
Those are two I study a lot when it comes to the storytelling. Like Billy was the first person to kind of put me on the road, and I got to see how he told his stories to really good crowds, and I got to see how he told his story to crowds that didn't give a shit. And, you know what I mean? I got to see how it was handled and how it wasn't handled. Him and Dallas Moore. I don't know if you ever heard of Dallas, but he plays the Floribama a bunch.
Yeah, I've heard of him, but I have not listened to his music yet.
He's killer. He's been touring for about 30 years, but we used to live real close to him in Cincinnati. I kind of took my notes from watching him do his thing there at the start. I cut that into about a third because he plays 7 days a week. He's a whole ass unit, man. I've never seen somebody that plays as much as him.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything coming up that you want to kind of plug or anything? Or?
Yeah. In a few weeks, I get to play. It'll be my third time at the North Springs Music Festival in Whitleyville, Tennessee. And the lineup's crazy. It's like, so it's Ward Davis, Way Jennings, Taylor Honeycutt, Coleman Cheros, Tim Gooden, Rich Henderson, me, bunch of my buddies.
That's awesome.
It's like 30 minutes away from where my kid lives.
Okay.
The guy running it, Dustin Kennedy, he's really built something out of this.
That's awesome.
It's a super cool event.
Is it like a 3-day type thing?
First day is a pre-party at like this, it's like event center. And then the 2 days of it is out in this field in the middle of nowhere.
Nice.
And they do like camping and whatnot. Me and Bree are renting a camper, have somebody drop it off and hook it up. And that's what we've done the last few times we've been over there.
Yeah. Anytime I camp nowadays, it's got to be somewhat bougie.
Glamping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My old bones can't handle camping anymore.
Oh, yeah. No, we've got the van set up now. So that thing's perfect. We got this bean bag that I bought for my son. He was supposed to be like his gaming bean bag. And it was huge. It was freaking, it's sort of like, it's got another insert you put over it and it turns it into a queen size bed.
Oh my gosh.
We just got it laid out in the back of the
that's
car.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect.
That's so cool. So you have any other festivals or anything coming up or just that one?
I'm playing with Tennessee Jet on October 4th. I'm excited about that one.
Nice.
He's one of my favorites out there, out in Illinois. We got a few more full band shows for the year. I'm trying to think. Bree knows more about where I'm playing from like day to day than I do. So let's see. So I'm playing back at Buck's Bar and Grill on November 2nd. So that place is probably my favorite dive bar to play in the country. It's over in Omaha. Start of the year, we got to play with Ward up there 4 or 5 nights in a row. He sold that place out every night. I'd played there a bunch before then, but I'd never watched like a sold out acoustic. Everybody holding on to everything you're saying right there in the palm of their hand.
Wow.
Kind of moment. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Definitely took my notes from watching him on the road too. He's one of the best live to do it, in my opinion. Especially like we're doing it tonight. Like,
It'll be a similar thing where you'll have everyone in the palm of your hand.
I sure hope.
That's the beauty of a listening room.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm loving your Roger Miller tat, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Big fan. Big fan.
Ooh la golly, what a day.
Yeah. I love Roger Miller. His music, his antics,
Yeah.
his story, and a big Disney fan.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Big, huge Disney fan.
Don't even get me started. We'll be here for another hour. Well, I really appreciate you being so open and sharing your story. And it's been a fun conversation. And
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to hearing you tonight. What's your last name, Gary?
Weber, Weber, like the grill.
I told her Gary liked the snail.
Gary like the snail, and Weber like the grill.
Well, we've got Wes here with his harmonica player, Gary Weber, and they're going to do the song If You'd Have Told Me Years Ago.
Shout out to my awesome girlfriend. If you'd have told me years ago I'd be an old hobo playing songs for change in some big town, I'd have chose a different road, kept my family in my home, instead of drinking all these whiskey bottles down. Quit hiding from my shame, with the devil running in my veins, riding on that hellbound train again. Quit living on the run, I wasn't running from anyone, just running from my past. I can't pretend. And it's crazy how things change, the time that flashes by. She can't piece it all together, can't tell you the reason why. If you'd have told me years ago I'd be playing all these shows, probably would have called your ass a liar. 3 years out on this road, and I don't see much of home, but words and whiskey help me stoke this fire. It's crazy how things change, 'cause in the blink of an eye, our 20s are behind us, we're turning 35. If you'd have told me way back when I'd fall in love with my best friend, after all them years I felt defeat. She loves and holds me tight until God turns out the light, and in the morning she'll be right there next to me. It's crazy how things change, 'cause I was headed straight for hell. She pulled me from the ashes, Lord, and in her arms I fell. She ain't no kin to my son, 'cause y'all never know. She loves my boy regardless and treats him like her own. Nothing stays the same, you can bet your bottom down. So fasten up your seatbelts, everybody, just try to enjoy the ride. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me on my Sonic Seeker's journey. All episodes are currently recorded at Dauphin Street Sound in Mobile, Alabama. Big thanks to them for always providing professional quality recording and hospitality, and a cozy environment for me and my podcast guests. They are amazing to work with, and they have recorded some legendary artists at their studio. Huge thanks to my good friends, the Jollies, out of Satsuma, Alabama, for composing and recording the Sonic Seeker's intro music. All I told them was that I wanted something dreamy and shoegazy, and they churned out the most beautiful masterpiece I could have imagined. I'm honored to call them friends, and I'm always amazed at how talented and creative they are, and versatile. And most of all, thank you for listening to my passion project, Sonic Seekers. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you shalom.